So, Nam aloha, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. And if you could put your type, your human design type, and any other information you want to share with people. Okay. So, let us begin. So, I hope you're doing well today. We're really under a lot of pressure. Because if you follow astrology, you know that Mars and the Sun are together, and you can see this in the transit chart as well. So this is human design astrology. So we're going to look at the transits, and I feel like this video, the last one was a little bit advanced. So I'm going to simplify this a little bit more so that people can use this energy, right? Okay. So you notice that my thumbnail says protect your power, right? All human design types. So what does that imply? That implies that you already do have power, right? You already do have power. So we're going to see that in the chart. So you want to have your natal chart with you, right? So you minimally want to know your design type, and that would be your strategy. That alone is going to really help you to navigate through these times, right? Okay, so we're going to look at the sun mostly, and you can see that it will be moved into the 14.1 like later this evening, and it will be there until the 22nd of November. So we've got a little bit of time to experience this, and we're just out of the 43, like we're going to be out of that soon, and it's in the 6th line. So you should have some insights today. Once we get to the 6th line, right, we get to insights. So this is about knowing. Now watch my last video if you need to learn more about this. Okay. So this is about knowing or not knowing or not knowing. Okay. So you may have gone through that this week. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I want other people to tell me what they know and tell me that what I should know, right? The back and forth, because this is the duality, right? Or you've come to this knowing, right? This insight, this epiphany. Okay. So if it hasn't happened yet, you got a couple more hours to go. Okay. So just it's about quieting the mind and listening to your own inner wisdom. Okay. So let's talk about the 14. And it's right there, and it's coming off the sacral. So if you're a generator, manifesting generator, then this is totally colored in for you. And that's what generates the life force energy, right? It's called the sacral. So if you're a generator in MG, this is your strategy. You listen to a yes or no, and that's coming from the sacral, okay? So let's talk about this 14, and what does it have to do with power, the word power? Well, you can see, I talked about this before, the 2 is the magnetic monopole, right? It's the pole, the magnetic monopole that we all have in the sternum, and it's one magnetic mono. So mono means it attracts, it's attracting all your experiences to you, right? It doesn't repel, it attracts, right? So this is what is the driver that we call in human design, what's moving you through time and space on your unique journey, right? So that's the 2. So the 2 is like the steering wheel, if you want to look at it like that, right? The steering wheel in a car. Okay. There we go. Steering wheel. And then the 14, that's the gas pedal, right? So these 2 are connected, even though that they're not gas pedal right there. Okay, so there's the gas pedal, the 14, and then the steering wheel's the 2. The 2 gives direction, but it can't go really anywhere unless the gas, and then guess the gas is there, right? So so they need one another. So the 2's not activated. So what does this mean? This means you have to look at your own chart. So if you have the 2, right? If you have the 2 activated natally, but you don't have the 14, well, you're going to get the channel of the beat right here, the channel of the beat. So here's a hot tip. If you're like, well, how am I going to use that, right? I have no access to the 2. Well, you got to look at your who's in your environment, especially the projectors. You need to know everybody's chart, right? You need to know what energy you're swimming in, especially projectors, right? So go to a public space. Just go to a public space. Maybe this week it's like, I'm not feeling the direction. I'm feeling the energy because this 14 is activated for me, but I don't know which direction to go, right? I'm just like spinning my wheels because I don't have the steering wheel. Well, what you do is you go out into a public place, right? Go run some errands, go to a public place. Go hang around with people. You don't need to talk to them. They can be strangers, but just be in their vicinity. And chances are you're going to come across a two, right? Somebody with a two, and then immediately activates you, right? So that's a hot tip for this week. Okay. So this 14, okay, this 14. So this is the Matrix program because we live in a simulation. Okay, Maya would be the ancient yogi word for it, but it's a simulation and matrix. So we all understand because we all saw the Matrix, right? 1999. And if you haven't, you got to go see it. It's all in there. So we're living in a matrix program, right? And all of these little dots here that you see, they're called neutrinos, right? And they're subatomic particles and they move through solid objects. And look, 65 million neutrinos pass through your thumbnail every second. So you've got trillions of neutrinos moving through you right now, your physical body and all around you. And so what's the big deal about that is that they carry information. So they're carrying information mainly from the sun, right? 70% come from the sun, 20% from Jupiter, 10% from other stars, right? So they are bombarding the earth, bombarding every human being, every living thing, everything that we see on the planet, and they're influencing. Like this is the program. So if you're unconscious and you're being yourself and you're trying to be pleasing everybody and you're trying to go, I just want to live my life and be a materialist, then you're going to be really influenced by this matrix program, right? So you're just like, right? You're just like a robot, like with the rest of the people on the planet. So this is how important this program is. It influences us. But when you're yourself, you can be smart and you can be wise and you can use this energy because I know who I am, right? Like let's get back to the chart. Now, this is a transit chart. Now, if you had your natal, you'd have a red side too on this side. But you can look at the chart and say, okay, all week long, this 14 is being activated, right? And I only have the two, but I'm going to use this energy, right? And to get a sense of my direction. Now, does that mean you act from that place? No, you go back to your strategy, right? A generator, manifesting generator, you wait, right? You wait and you respond to whatever is coming to you, but you're going to have this kind of advantage, right? So it's wise to watch the transits. Okay. And then for the projectors, wait to be recognized and then invited. And then the manifestor is to inform, ask permission, and then initiate, right? Okay. So that's the program. So let's talk about power. Let's talk about power. That's a big word right now. Okay. So let's talk about power in the simulation. What does power in the simulation mean is like what do we consider power in the simulation? More choice, right? More choice. We have more choice. We have power, we have more choice. We have control over others. These are the power trippers, right? The people, they want control. That's all they want is control. They want to control other people's lives and they want control of their own life and they want security and safety, right? That power gives you that too in the simulation. So what is power? It's money. That's what represents power now in the simulation that we live in is money. So if you have no power, you have no money, right? You have no money. No money, no power. No power, no money. So this is the great illusion, right? This is the great illusion is we've been conditioned and taught to chase power outside of ourselves. in the form of money. And that's what the jobs are for. And if we look at your motivation, most people's motivation, well, it's really survival underneath all that, isn't it? It's like chasing the dollar. We've been conditioned to chase the dollar, and then this is going to give us more and more power. So the people that have the most money have the most power. They make decisions for many, many other people, and they have control over other people's lives. If you think of like a landowner, right, that has all these houses, right? They have all these houses and maybe apartment buildings, and they rent them out. Well, they have control over other people's lives because they have the money to purchase the land, right? So you can look at it like that, power and simulation. But we've been taught this, and it's an illusion. It's an illusion. That's not true power. Okay? So, and what we're taught to do, and this is the shadow of the 14, because everyone has a shadow, a gift, and a city. That's compromise. So this is what we do. We compromise, right? For power, because we believe we have no power. And that's why we compromise. We were taught from day one that you have no power unless you go chase that dollar, right? And accumulate as much power as you can. So power is your spiritual energy. This is your spiritual energy. So let's say you're a bucket, right? You're a bucket, and you're building up your spiritual energy. This is your power. It's already inside you, right? But we've been taught to compromise. So every time you compromise, it's a hole in the bucket, right? And this is all the ways. I did a slide here. This is the ways. So we've been taught here to compromise, be realistic, be responsible, compromise your dreams and your values and your authentic self in exchange for material security. It's always for material security, right? So compromising is dying your life. So this is what the ego is whispering in your ear, right? You got to be, come on, you got to be realistic. It's great to have a dream when you're a child, but we're in the real world now. So this is how the compromise starts, right? And so the belief here is you have no power, and in order to survive in the world, you have to make compromises. And this is a different meaning than the word cooperation. That's completely different. You can cooperate with people, but you don't sacrifice your authentic self when you cooperate with someone. When you compromise from the shadow frequency here, you are compromising your dreams, your values, and your authentic self, right? So here's the ways, right? That's a dyslexic blurb. So how do you give your power away? How do you leak your energy, right? How do you leak that energy like that bucket? Well, you people please, right? That means not speaking the truth. You know a truth is inside you, but no, you censor yourself, right? You self-censored. You become someone you think that other person wants you to be. You become someone you think society wants you to be, right? You become someone you think your religion wants you to be. You become someone you think your extended family wants you to be, right? You play this role. It's all fake. And then you go along with the crowd without checking your strategy. Now here's where human design is really a gift for us right now, because it gives you a tool that you already have. You don't have to go out and buy anything or purchase anything. It's already inside you. All you have to know is how it works, right? And this is your inner authority. You can count on this, your strategy. You can't count on your mind, and you certainly can't count on other people outside of you, right? So this is how you leak your energy, right? And virtue signaling, right, is like, look, I'm a good person, right? That's another way you compromise yourself, like all the other not selves in the world. Look at me, I'm a good person, I'm following along, right? I'm getting my kudos from outside of me, completely leaking your energy there. Blind obedience, Michael, I got some major typos here. So blind obedience to someone with a bunch of letters behind their name, or wears a nice suit and has a nice haircut. Do you know what I mean? It's projecting the authority outside of yourself. I have a blind obedience to them because how dare I, right? I haven't been to indoctrination school for 25, 30 years, but they have. Like, that's how you have to look at them. As soon as I see someone with a bunch of letters behind their name, right away, I go to, they've been indoctrinated. They've been uber indoctrinated. They're the last person I want to take give my blind obedience to. Of course, I'll listen to them, but I'll filter it through my own inner strategy and authority, right? Is this correct for me or not? But we've been programmed to do this. And then we compromise, we give our power away to the ones that seem to have power over you, right? That you've been told they have power over you. And this is the illusion, the great illusion, right? That's falling, it's crumbling now. And then making decisions from fear. So there's just some ways that I thought of quickly, right? I'm sure that maybe you've got some other ways. You could put that in the chat, like how you give your power away so others can learn from you too, right? So so every time you do those things, you're putting a hole in your bucket, right? And that's all your spiritual energy just going down the tubes. It's not really going down the tubes, it's going to, right? Something outside of you is taking all that power, all your power. Yeah. So you can see the power doesn't come from outside of you, does it? It's already there. Your bucket is already full, right? It's you that's making these choices, these compromises to leak your energy and give your power away, right? And this is a big lesson that we're in right now. This is the Aquarian age lesson, is we're taking our power back as individuals, right? We're not giving our power away anymore, okay? And so what's the real power? What's the capital T truth here? Is divine power. It's the divine power. That's what's in that bucket. It's divine power, and it's yours. It's your power. So what are you doing here? What's the capital T truth? Right? I'll get to that in a second, actually. So the divine power, it's an inside job. It has nothing to do with the outside. You're not getting divine power from outside of you. It's inside you. It's already given to you. It's already yours. So you already possess it, but you've been tricked out of it. So there's a big energy game going on right now, right? Because there's such change on the planet that the ego, right? The ego, our whole planet's been ruled by this ego for thousands of years. This is losing power, right? Anything not connected to the divine now is losing power. It's dismantling, it's breaking down, right? So this is the ego. So anything connected to inauthenticity is breaking down. So what's happening are those people that are ruled by egos are doing everything in their power to try to get your energy. So it's a game, right? It's a game. It's a big mad rush to get energy, and the old ways won't work anymore, right? So and this gets you the compromise, right? To get you the compromise, to get you to be in fear, right? To get you to be in fear, to promise you security and safety. If you do this, if you do that, giving your power away, making all these false promises. So what you're doing here, what's the capital T truth, is you're not chasing the dollar anymore. You've been taught to chase the dollar. You need to completely flip and have a paradigm shift, right now, like immediately, because 2027 is coming quick, right? It's coming quick. 2027, that's when we're really going to see the flip, right? The whole 8 themes for the last 400 years are changing drastically, right? So now you don't want to be chasing the dollar. You don't want to be chasing the external. You want to be chasing your inner spirit, okay? So the major theme, this is what I talked about in the Sleeping Phoenix webinar series, is 55.6. We're moving from 37.6 0.1, okay, that we've been in since 1961, and now we're moving into 55.6. We're in the 55 for the next 400 years. So we go down to 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? So the 55 for the next 400 years. And this is about spirit. And this, I talked about this before. Saturn is in this, right? But it's in it's not in the 6 line, but it's in the 55. This is what's being mutated here. Where is it here? Right? That's what's being mutated, the solar plexus mutation, right? The 55. So the big theme is the 55.6. And the 0.6 is you have to be the living embodiment of your truth, right? This is all about learning from experience, from our experiences. We have to embrace a whole new way of being for 2027. So this is part of it, taking our power back. And this is abundance. It's the gate of abundance. So it's the realization that abundance is the measurement of how much spirit, right? How much spirit is in that bucket of yours. If you're leaking like crazy, you've got nothing going on, right? Your spirit is so low. And what happens when your spirit is low? You can't see properly. Your perception, right? Your perception is off. You're out of your intuition. You're in the washing machine. I didn't put that slide up, did I? Maybe I did. Oh, no, I didn't. You're basically in the washing machine, and washing machine means you get batted around, right? You get batted around. There we go. Batted around, right? You're vulnerable to other people's judgments and opinions, and you're vulnerable to the outside world. So what's the 14 teaching us? Because we've got to look, this is the theme for this week, and this is how we ground the theme, and that's in the 8. So these are very, very key to my chart. I'm just flipped. I'm in 814, right? So the 8, that's all about being your authentic self, right? It's all about authenticity. That's why I'm like a broken record on that, like this, because this is what I am here to teach. To be your authentic self, right? That's what you want to commit to. Right? I want to commit to my authenticity. So it's about knowing who you are. You know, knowledge is power, right? Know who you are. That knowledge is power, but self-empowerment, that's the key. And that's knowing who you are. And then you're not going to compromise. You won't compromise because you know who you are. You know who you are. And you know how to make your decisions, and they're not from the mind, and they're not blind obedience to someone outside of you. So these are really important things to know now. And what else did I want to say about this? So you want to let your spiritual energy build up by refusing to compromise. So look at the ways. I wrote some ideas about how you can be leaking your energy, but go into like, what are some ways that I give my power away? And just put that out there. I'm going to ask myself, I'm going to ask the divine, how do I give my power away? Let me know, show me how I give my power away. And then an experience will come to you, and it will show you how you give your power away, right? And so remember your attention, pay attention. That's why it says pay attention, because this is your currency, what you're paying attention to. That's another way you can leak your energy. Right? If you're on the social media constantly and you're seeing those horrible images from the Middle East over and over and over again, right? Feeling powerless, right? So this week is either feeling powerless or I feel like I'm in my power. You'll be back and forth, right? So, but you're learning a lesson. That's what the transit's about. What am I paying too much attention to, right? Where am I getting sucked into this simulation? Okay. And also with divine power, we have to have faith. That's the big lesson right now, is we have to have faith in this divine power. We're being tested. And remember with AI, because we can give our power away to AI and the energies that are on the planet right now that seem to be winning, right? That it's like, oh, the pendulum is swinging way over to the dark side right now, which makes sense. We're in November. This is Scorpio month. Remember that AI can't be stopped, or the divine AI can't stop the divine, right? The real power can't stop that, can't surveil the divine, and it can't destroy what was never created, and that's you. The soul was never born and was never and will never die, right? So that's what you have to know and have faith in. Okay, so let me look at comments and then we'll go into the types. Okay. Feeling off all week. Yeah. Well, we're in this energy, right? It's really, really intense. But stick with the truth of who you are, right? Stick with the truth of who you are. We've never been under this much pressure. Maybe our ancestors have been, but certainly not in my lifetime have I been under this much pressure. I'm sure that you can agree with that too. Okay. Okay, so what I'll do, and remember, oh, that's a bad picture, but there's the Phoenix. Remember in the Chamber of Secrets, if you're a Harry Potter fan, there's a lot in that Harry Potter movie series. That's the Phoenix. Remember? The Phoenix started burning. It's a burning day. This is where we are now. As the Phoenix, we're in the burning stage, right? And so what's burning off is everything that's not us. So the not self is being burned away. And what's going to be left is the little baby Phoenix coming out from those ashes, and that's you, right? And we're entering into the awakening the sleeping Phoenix that's been sleeping, coming in 2027. Yeah. Okay, so keep that in mind. You're burning it off. Okay, so let's go to the types and we'll do a little message and I'll do what I did before. Okay, so that's rolling the die right here, rolling the die, and then these are all the planets and the nodes, and then we'll look at this transit chart and we'll talk a little bit more about the transit, and then we'll apply it to the type. Right, so remember there's 5 types in human design. Okay, so and it's based on your aura. Well, it's based on your data, right? Your birth data, but it describes you as an aura type, right? So the manifesting generators are 35% of the population. So you can see their auras right there. They have got an opening, an enveloping aura. I call it the teddy bear aura, and they're here to respond. That's their strategy. And when they don't respond and they go up to their head and make all their decisions from their mind, or they listen to what everybody else is telling them what to do, this is the not self, right? Because this conditioning field is conditioning and influencing the mind, and the mind is all about your not self. The mind is not here for you to make decisions from your mind, right? You're here to make your decisions from the sacral. Okay, so when you're making your decisions from the sacral, remember the magnetic monopoles bringing in all the experiences to you, and then you go to your belly, and it's going to speak to you, and a yes or no, not like the words yes or no, but it's a feeling of yes or no, and then you obey that. You don't obey the mind. Okay, so when you don't do that and you refuse, right, and you're stubborn and you go along to get along, then you're going to feel frustrated. Or you're going to feel depressed, or you'll feel depressed, one of these two, right? And you're going to hate and loathe your work and what you do. And a lot of people do not like their work and what they do. And the generators, there's 70% in total, because you got the manifesting generator and the generator. That's 70% of the world that are pumping out this energy, and we all have to live in it. I'm a projector. I'm not pumping any of this out because I don't have this defined, but I have to live in this frustration, right? In depression, in this like loathing of work, right? Loathing of work. It's not fun, right? So that's why the teacher of human design said if only the generators woke up, right, everything would just shift on this planet very, very quickly. So for you, I mean, power is really, really important for the manifesting generator. So when you're operating correctly, and you'll start to, right? When you start obeying the sacral with the yes or no and following through and acting on it, then you're going to start to feel fulfilled. You'll start drawing the right experiences to you. You'll start drawing the right people to you, right? You won't be feeling this frustrated. You'll start doing the work that you love to do because the generators are here to work. They love to work because they've been giving all this energy for their work. Okay, so let's do a roll the die for the MGs and pipe up if you're in a manifesting generator too, and how you've been feeling. Okay, what do we got for our manifesting generator friends? The MGs. The MGs. And they got the Uranus. Is that Uranus or Mars? Just a sec, I gotta double check because yeah, it's Mars. Okay. Sometimes the Uranus is the one in the up, right? Okay, but this is Mars. So this is really interesting because at manifesting generators, the sun and Mars, look at them together. They're conjunct, right? They're conjunct. So this is really amplifying this 14 energy, right? This 14 energy. So remember, this is hugely about wealth and prosperity, right? The 14, because it's all of this energy. It's bounty, so much bounty and bounty 14, but the shadow is compromised. So you've got Mars, and in terms of the transit, this is the theme, right? This is what the matrix is putting out. That's the program. We know it's not us. If like it's me because I have the 14, but if you don't have the 14, it's not you. But you're going to use this. You're going to be wise. And it's like, I know this isn't mine. I'm not going to make a bunch of decisions, but I'm going to use this energy of this 14. I'm going to see where I compromise, right? That's manifesting generator. I'm going to see where in my life where I compromise. Okay. So, and remember, it's all about the mind, right? When we go to conditioning, we're really talking about the mind. It conditions the mind. So that's it. You don't have to listen to your mind at all. You just listen to your sacral. So Mars is really interesting because, okay, so you've got Mars and the sun together, manifesting generators. And in terms of the transit chart, this is very mutative, right? It's very mutative. And this is what needs to change. This is what needs to change on the planet. That's what this is showing us, the 14 in the Mars position. So the thing that needs to change, okay, with the 14. So what's it showing you, right? What's it showing you here is that the way that you use your power needs to change, radically needs to change. So frustration, you know, Mars is rules Aries and rules Scorpio. And with that comes anger. And, you know, frustration is definitely anger. It's a lower form of anger, but it's still anger. So the anger is going to show you where you're misusing your power. So if you're on the other side of it, misusing your power, trying to control others and overpower other people, they're going to show you, they're going to react to you, right? They're going to react to you with anger. And what they're basically doing is showing you that anger that's already inside you. Or you're going to feel anger that somebody is overpowering you, right? Trying to control you, forcing you to compromise, right? To go into the shadow. So you're going to learn all about that this week. So what I would say here is make anger your friend, make frustration your friend. And that's the great thing about the matrix and the simulation is that you all just remember that it's duality. Where you find one, you're going to find the other, right? So what's that showing you is oh, I'm either overpowering someone, misusing my power, or I'm being overpowered, right? You're not a victim. It's just to look at the both sides, like learn and use this as information neutrally. Oh, this is where I need to clean up. Because if you're doing, if you even if you're overpowering someone, this is still a compromise. It's a self-betrayal because you think I need to get my energy from that other person. That's on an energetic level. Let's just be truthful here. I need to get my energy from them, right? So that's a self-betrayal. It's a self-denial that I have power. It's saying I don't have power. I need to get it from someone else, right? And then the other way is somebody doing that to you. And it's like, I have no power. Again, it's like, I have no power. They have power over me. This person has power over me, right? They got the money. They're my boss, my supervisor. Maybe my partner's got all the money, holding the purse strings. My landlord, they've got power over me, right? Again, the belief system is I have no power. So you got to believe in yourself. You got to believe that you have this power and you got to plug up these holes like really fast, plug them up. Because what's going to happen when we get closer and closer to 2027, it's an energy game. These punctures are going to start coming fast and furious, right? To get everybody to start to compromise and give away their power, right? So you want to learn, right? Self-knowledge. That's very know the self, know thyself, MGs and generators. Know yourself. That's truly your power is to know yourself. So start off slow, and that means to start listening, right? Start listening to that sacral, and it's going to get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, right? Your power will build and build and build and build. And you've got a lot of power anyway as an MG. So they're after you guys. They're totally after you, right? The program's totally after you, the manifesting generators and the generators to leak your energy because you got all the energy, right? You got all the energy. So, like I said last week, it's your right to who I'm going to give my energy to or not. What do I give my energy to? 14 is all about being wasteful with your energy and your resources and your money, right? Being totally wasteful out of fear, things like that. So it's all about plugging the holes up in the bucket this week, learning where those holes are where you're leaking, right? So Mars is really going to help you out to see, right? So no judging, just oh, I'm gathering information, right? It seems like I'm making mistakes, but I'm gathering information. Okay. So this collectively, collectively, this is showing us that this has to change how we've been using our resources, right? Just throwing it willy-nilly all over the place, right? Yeah. Okay. Anything else for the manifesting generators? Okay. 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 So let's go to the generator. And they've got the same thing as the MGs, right? So again, they're 35% generators. And they've got the open and enveloping teddy bear aura. They're here to respond with their sacral yes or no. And when they're not operating correctly, they feel frustrated, angry, depressed, and they want to feel fulfilled, especially in their work and what they do in their work. And maybe you're getting the heads up after the eclipse season that this has to change for you generators, that what you're doing out there for work and for money has to change. Are you compromising yourself for the dollar, right? Are you giving up on your dreams for the dollar? Are you not listening to your intuitive guidance because of the dollar, because you're fearful, right, of what will happen to you? Right. So let's do a die. I'm going to roll the die with the planet and we'll go deeper into the planetary position. And this is for you, for all the generators. Okay, what do we got for our generator friend? What do we got for our generator friends? Pluto. Pluto, Pluto, Pluto. Okay. And that's Pluto here. Let me just grab this up because this thing's in the way here. You can't see what I see. Okay, that's perfect. Okay. Pluto. I forgot who got Pluto last time. I think the Manifestors did. So there's 60 right there. And it's coming off the root, right? So right away, that tells you that's a pressure, right? It's a pressure point. And Pluto's in there. And Pluto's also the ruler of Scorpio, right? The sun is in Scorpio. Okay. So these two are definitely connected. And let's talk about the 60. So collectively, right? So you have to look at your own Pluto, or even look, do you have the 60? Look at your chart. Do I have the 60 and what planet is it in? Well, it's going to resonate, right? So say you've got the 60 in the Venus position. Well, it's going to resonate with your Venus, right? The 60. But and it's probably right astrologically, like right on your Venus. That would be your relationships and your money and all that stuff would have to change and shift. But that's for the Pluto and Capricorn people. Okay, so Pluto transit. So what does it mean in terms of the transit? This is the matrix that we're in, the simulation that we're in, the program, right? Is pumping the 60, pumping the 60s through the neutrino stream. It's moving through everybody, and we're all being influenced by it. And it's a long, long transit, right? The 60. So there it is there, the 60. So what's the transit doing is like, this is the truth. Pluto's saying this is the truth for everybody. Remember, the simulation is about one size fits all. It's about all for one. We're getting influenced the whole way. This is our battle right now. Am I going to be the homogenized sheep, right? Am I going to go with the crowd and be like everybody else and completely deny my uniqueness? And the reason why I came on this planet was to be my unique, individuated self. That's your goal in this lifetime. That's what your soul wants, not to go along with this, right? The one size fits all. But this is what Pluto and by transit. Now, say a little tiny tot, a soul was born during the 60.2. Well, that's them. That's their Pluto. It's not your Pluto, right? It's somebody else's. The souls that are coming in right now. It's not your truth. You've got a different truth. So you want to look at your Pluto. What's your truth? So this is the one truth that 8 billion people have to embrace, right? This is the influencing program that we're in right now. And remember, we each have our own truth. So what is this saying is, well, it's the shadow of limitation. That's the 60. It's the shadow of limitation. And boy, are we in that, eh? Well, that's the truth. We're just limited. It's just the way it is. Maybe you've learned to accept it, right? That we're, as a humanity, we're in this deep, deep contraction stage right now. And we need to be in that, right? We need to be in that for our growth and evolution. So this is about accepting, and this is like the truth is we're all putting this out, right? Especially the not self humans, the not self, the sheep, the muggles, they're totally putting this out. I'm limited. I'm limited. This is just the way it is. I'm limited. And making all their decisions from this limitation. Because what we do is we believe that we're always going to be like this. We're always going to be limited, right? So I just need to make my decisions from this place. We're always limited. And it's about the material, right? It's 60 Capricorn. It's from the root. It's very connected to the material. So if we go into a little bit deeper is to the truth, right? In terms of limitation. Whoops. That MG snuck in there again. So for generators, the limitation, because let's bring it back to the 14 here, and in terms of your power, maybe you've believed wrongly that you're limited in your power, right? You're limited in your power. You've been listening to your mind, right? You've been listening to your mind too much. I'm limited in the amount of power that I have. It's just the way it is, right? So this is I want to say there's a difference between acceptance, because this is the gate of acceptance, the 60, but then there's resignation, right? And resignation is the hole in the bucket. As soon as you resign yourself to something, that's a hole in the bucket. This is how you're compromising. I'm resigned. I've just given up. I don't have any power. I'm just going to get through this lifetime the best I can, grab as much for me as I can, and just wait it out, right? Wait it out and basically go back to sleep, try to go back to sleep, right? And ride this out as a generator. That's resignation. Now let's talk about acceptance. Now, acceptance is a higher frequency. This is how you use this energy in Pluto, right? Okay, there's the transit, but I'm going to transcend. That's your word. This is the alchemist. You want to be the alchemist. I'm going to transcend the shadow of limitation. I'm going to transcend that by accepting. I'm accepting that this is the weather right now. You know, the weather. When you go out, if you live in a place that's like any place, the weather's always changing. You don't resign yourself. Well, it's always going to be cloudy. It's always going to be overcast. It's always going to be like that. No, you don't. That's not the truth, right? It's not the truth that Pluto's putting out. What it is I'm going to accept that it's overcast and cloudy right now, but it's not going to last forever. So it's accepting that I'm in this space of limitation. Like, that's real. We can all feel that. We're all experiencing that, but it's only for a time. It's not forever. Okay. So don't go into that space of resignation. And generators don't like that, especially manifesting generators too. They don't like that. They don't like the waiting, right? They don't like the waiting. But what I say to generators is, if you feel stuck, because that's a common thing for generators to say, I feel stuck in my life. I'm not growing. I'm not moving forward. I feel stuck, like something's holding me back. That's the 60. The shadow frequency of the 60 is you work in levels, generators. So there's a period, right, where you reach a like you're going up the mountain. Let's say you're going up in the mountain, and then you reach a plateau, right? So where you go is listening to the mind. It's like, I'm stuck. I'm not moving forward. I'm limited. I've got to do something. I've got to initiate. And that's not you, right? You're here to respond. So you need to trust when you're at the plateau, because the 60 is putting you in the plateau, is I'm going to wait, and I'm going to be patient, and I'm going to obey my strategy right here, which is to respond with a yes or no. And you're a magnet, right? Life is going to bring you things to respond to, right? But don't initiate. That's where you can get into trouble, right? And then you go off on some dead end road, right? That's not correct for you. And then you've got to back up, and you got to go back to where you were, right? So that's what I would say, that you're in a level and a plateau, and just to be patient. Don't worry, things are going to start to really pick up in 2024, right? When Pluto goes into Aquarius. Yeah, and out of this limitation. Okay. So the best use of your time right now is to learn about yourself, right? Generators and manifesting generators have to know themselves, right? That's the only way that they're going to move forward safely, as themselves, right? It's all about being your authentic self right now. So not limited in your power, right? Not making premature decisions, right? That's compromise, not compromising yourself. not compromising listening to this. Oh, I'm going to listen to my mind because nothing's happening. And the mind will test you. It will be right there in your face. You got to do something. You got to do, everything's going to fall apart. And the nightmare stories of what's going to happen if you don't do something, right? We're obsessed and we're addicted to doing, right? And now in 2027, we have to get used to being, not doing anymore, being. So this is your test. And what you're going to be face to face with is that crazy mind. The most conditioned mind of all the types who have like the worst nightmare minds are the generators and the manifesting generators, because it's the most conditioned, right? They have the most conditioned mind. So they got to confront that mind, not to be afraid of it. Remember who you are. Keep dropping down in here, having faith, having trust, right? Okay. Anything else for the generators with no, that's it. Okay. So let's go for the manifestors. And the manifestors have the closed and repelling auras right there. And they're only 9% of the world, these manifestors. So they're here to inform or ask permission, and they're the ones that initiate. Now, the cosmic joke with the manifestors is they want to be generators, and the generators want to be manifestors, right? So this is about accepting who you are, right? So you're here to inform, ask permission, and then you initiate. And your divine inspiration is coming down, right, from the divine. You'll get messages and you'll try as you might. I just want to escape this. I want to drown this out. I don't want to do this. I don't want to face this fear, but it won't leave you alone, especially when it keeps coming and coming and coming, right? It will keep coming and coming into you until you initiate, right? But you need to inform and you need to share, right? Ask permission. By asking questions. You know, if you're about to do a big project as a manifestor, you're getting the divine download, but you know it's going to be taking some time away from your family. Well, asking permission is informing, right? Informing, asking permission would sound like, this is really important to me. You're sharing, informing. This is really important. It keeps coming to me in my dreams. And I know how this is going to impact, because the manifestors are all about impact. I know how it's going to impact the family, but it just won't go away. And I feel like I really need to initiate this in this lifetime. It feels like it's my soul destiny, right? How do you feel about this, right? And then this is the asking permission, right? And then they get to share. And then what happens for you is that aura, their aura, which can be a conflict and a block for you. That's why the anger comes up. It comes down, right? It's smoothed out, right? There's trust. It's just about you building trust through the other types, because manifestors are often with generators or manifesting generators or projectors, right? It's building that trust, and that's why you share, right? That's why you inform. That's why you ask permission, because your manifestors are very aware of their impact on other people, right? So they can be really afraid of that. Well, if I initiate that, it's going to impact them, but you're here to impact people. You're going to either impact them positively or you're going to impact them negatively. So if you're doing your destiny, right, and you're operating correctly, you're going to impact them positively. Even if it doesn't seem like it at the moment, it will. It ends up being very, very positive for everybody. Okay. So that's the manifestors. So let's roll a die for the manifestors and see what's going on. What do we got for our manifestor friends? What do we have for our manifestor friends? Ooh, you got the Pluto. I think you got Pluto last time too. So if you're just jumping in as a manifestor, go back to the generator message, because they got Pluto as well. So limited. So there can be a limited. So where do we want to go with this time? Okay, so 60 is coming off the root. And this is feeling materially limited. This rules like gravity, gravity, material limitation. Just the experience of being in a human body, right? We've got this great consciousness, right? Self-awareness and the spiritual knowledge and right in the experience of the divinity, but then we've got to deal with this this material limitation, right? This is the nuts and bolts of life, right? This is I got to get up and I got to shower and I got to brush these teeth and I got to take care of this body and I got to take care of my material environment, right? And I've got to deal with this material world. I can't just teleport or snap my fingers or wiggle my nose and my house is cleaned, right? So there can be this limitation, right? So this is when the mind gets in there. Maybe you're getting a divine download manifestor, and then you're getting caught up in all the details. And look at this. Let's bring Mercury in just for fun. So Mercury is what we're thinking about, right? Through this transit. And you see the 9 is up here. It's coming off the sacral. This is getting lost. This is inertia. So this is getting lost in the details. Okay, getting lost in the details. So this can be really, really limiting instead of keeping it simple. As soon as you get into the mind is not like simplicity because it chews. That's its food, is the thinking, right? And the worrying so your mind. So let's say you got the divine download and then you go straight to the mind. You don't go to inform or initiate because the mind wants you pulled, doesn't want you doing your destiny. It wants you pulled into your not self, right? Compromising in this sense because it's the shadow of the 14. Well, this is getting lost in the details. Well, I've got to do this then, and I've got to register my business if I want to do this, and then I've got to I have to deal with my family and who's going to take care of the kids on Tuesday night right? And then you're in that space, and in this space is not real. Right? When you're going over details like this, it's not real because where are you? Where you're in your head. You've been hijacked in your head. You're not in your body. You're not in the present moment, right? The present moment is where we're headed, right? For the sleeping phoenix, we're headed into the present moment. Everything is bringing us into this present now moment. Time is disappearing because it's not real. The only thing that's real is presence, right? So when you're stuck in details, thinking about the details, catch yourself. I need to come back to the present. What do I need to do right now? Okay, I need to let my family know, right? Okay, I'm gonna say let's have a family meeting after dinner tonight. I need to talk to you about something that's really important to me. And then that's just this next step. That's the step. And then what happens? Okay, the family, we talked it over and they're in full support. And they said, yeah, we can work together on this. Let's work together on this. We're behind you. We support you. Right. And then you go to the next step, but you're always in the present. Okay, what's the next step? What do I have to do for the next step? Right. So do you see how the 9 will take you? The shadow of the 9 is getting inertia, and then you don't get anything done. You're just like frozen. It's just you're so overwhelmed by all those details, and no one can keep up with their mind, right? Try that one day. I'm gonna do whatever my mind tells me to do, right? Because the mind isn't here. It's not here in this present now moment, right? It's off thinking about the future, reflecting on the past. It's not in the present. It's very bored by the present. So it's about simplifying, and that will take you out of that limitation. I feel like that's what the message for you guys is, that this is limiting you. It's your mind is limiting you, getting way too stuck in the details, right? And so let's elevate this up, because the 60, we want to transcend the 60 And the 60 is, yes, we're in the material world. Okay. I'm accepting that I'm in the material world. And that's my limitation. I accept that I'm in this body, right? And that I'm in the material world. And then you elevate the 9 up. Let's like elevate the 9 up. And this is determination. That's the gift of the 9. It's determination. It's the gift of focus, right? So this is about focusing your energy. So instead of the compromise could be diffusing your energy, right? The bucket. Every time you do that, right, where you're thinking about all those details, you're diffusing your energy. You want to be building up your energy, manifestors. And that means focusing. So keeping your focus on your goal, whatever the goal is that the divine has given you to initiate, right? So that way you can really manifest with power. But I really feel for the manifestors out there, this is not your friend. The mind is not your friend, right? Yeah. Okay. And give yourself time, right? Give yourself time and space to make those steps and just keep it really, really simple, right? And this will bring you peace. This will bring you peace if you follow your strategy. Okay. So let's go to the projector. And the projectors are 20% of the world. And these are the new leaders. The new leaders. And it's a very humbling position. I'm a projector. Humbling position. So they've got the focused and absorbing aura, right? So look at their aura goes straight into the other, to the other's G center. That's their identity. So projectors can see the identity of the other person. And so we're here to guide all the other energy types to help them when invited, right? So you have to be recognized for what your gifts are. Okay. And just to bring it to your authority. So say you're an emotional projector. That means the solar plexus is anybody, any type. If this is colored in, of course, it's not going to be for the reflectors because they have nothing colored in. But if this is colored in the solar plexus, that's your authority. So you've got your strategy and then your authority. So the projector, the strategy is wait to be recognized and then invite it. Okay. But if their authority is emotional, they need to be recognized for their authority, right? So that will give you more clues. Like, oh, you seem to be you've got a lot of spirit. The solar plexus rules that. You're like filled with spirit. You seem to know about your emotions and deal with your emotions so well, like things like that. You're steady, right? You go with the flow, whatever it is, right? It depends on what gate's being activated there too, right? But you want to be recognized for your authority as a projector, whatever that is. You need to find that out for yourself. And remember, you can get your free chart. I leave a link below in the information box. Okay, so when you're operating, not waiting to be recognized or invited, trying to help everybody, nobody wants your help, you're going to feel bitter, right? When you're trying to be a generator or a manifestor, I'm trying to initiate things or I'm trying to respond to things, right? And go, 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 go. Well, you're going to feel bitter because you're going to come against blocks because you're not operating correctly. So there's this bitterness that can build up in the projector. So the projector really needs to learn patience and needs to learn to wait. And when they're waiting, it doesn't mean they're numbing out or indulging in addictions. It means that they're studying. They're studying whatever they're passionate about, right? Projectors can take in a lot of information. They're masters of systems, right? And it's all about the other people. Projectors are very interested in other people and how they work, why they do the things they do, right? So when you're operating correctly and you're waiting for those big invitations will come, you're recognized, people see you, they value you, you're going to feel successful. And that's where you want to be as a projector. Okay. So remember, projectors don't have the same energy. This is the sacral, right? So that's always going to be open for projectors. So it means you don't have the same energy level as the MGs and the generators. Okay. So let's look at a die. I'm going to roll a planet for the projectors. So if you just jumped on here, go back and watch the rest of the video. Projectors need to learn about the other types. Okay. And you need to know who's in your life too. Okay, what do we have for our projector friends? What do we have for our projector friends? Well, we've got Mars. We've got the Mars. Okay. So we got that for another type. That was for the MGs, right? The Mars and the Sun here. So these two are together for a while, right? They're both in the first line right now. And then when the Sun goes into the next hexagram, the Mars is right there with it too. So let's see where we want to take this in terms of type. Projector type, waiting to be invited. In power. Well, we want to go to the shadow, right, of compromise. And how does a projector compromise, right? So you got the bucket. This is your spiritual energy. This is your power, So how does a projector compromise? How does a projector not compromise? That would be like an easier question. How do they compromise? Well, there's a belief, because here's the higher frequency, is that we do need the other types, right? Projectors do need the other types. They need the generators, they need the MGs, they need the manifestors to do their destiny. They can't just be alone, right? Alone in their cave doing their own thing. Try as you might, that's not going to work for a projector, right? So they need the other types, right, to do their destiny. So the lower frequency of this would be a codependency, right? It would be a codependency, right? That I have to give my power over, right, to these other types because I need them for my survival. Now, that's especially true if you've got an open spleen too. That would be, right? If you've got an undefined spleen as a projector, that would be doubly true too, right? Because you can hang on to things that aren't good for you. So how you can compromise here is not being yourself, for one, not being yourself, not speaking your truth when invited. When invited, somebody invites you, right? When invited, you know, they've come to you for advice. That's what the other types do, and advice and guidance for the projector, right? And then you don't speak the truth because you fear, right, that person won't like you, or that person will withdraw their invitation. And this is the little ways that we compromise, and it comes from the mind, right? There's this little tiny things that will come and, oh, you better not say that, right? You better not tell them that, right? That it's all about the outcome, right? And this is all about not being in the present moment again. That you've got to look at these are souls that have come to you. They want your guidance as a projector, right? And to not compromise that. Give them the truth. That's what they want. That's what their soul wants. And, you know, projectors, if you're, depends on what age you are, you know, but if you're over 30, you know what it's like to be rejected. Every projector knows that, right? That feeling of bitterness and being rejected. So when you feel that, if that person is like not accepting the truth of what you see, don't take it personally. That means that there's somebody else. They're moving out of the way, so somebody else that's for you can come to you, right? Yeah. So your job is to speak the truth as you see it, right? And projectors see, look, they see right into the identity of that other person. right? They see patterns, they see the shadow of the other person, they see the gifts of the other person, they recognize the other person, right? That other being. So let's go to Mars then. Mars can bring up anger, or it can bring up depression too, right? For the projector, right? And this will come up when you are not speaking the truth, when you're not being yourself, when you're trying to pretend that you're somebody that you're not, right? Not accepting your uniqueness. That's the 8. Yeah, right. You're unique. 20% of the world are projectors, and it can be around work. There we go. It can be around work because the projector can't work the 9 to 5 grind. Try as they might. And the workaholics are usually projectors because they don't have this motor that the MGs and the generators have that shuts off. There's a switch that just shuts off in them, and they're like, I'm done. I'm too tired. I'm exhausted. Well, the not self projector, go, 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 go. Give me a coffee. Give me some sugar. I can go. I can work, 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 work. Right. And then they're exhausted, or they manifest some kind of illness where they're on their back and they have to rest. So they have to learn their own rhythms, right? Projectors have to learn their own rhythms, but it's around work. That's what I see with this 14. And it's work that you love, right? So the compromise is like, who's going to pay me to do that? I love doing that, right? We've been conditioned that work is drudgery and it's horrible and you got to be suffering and exhausted at the end of the day. And then you're worthy of that paycheck or that money, right? And so the 14 is saying, like, love what you do. It's about enthusiasm, right? It's about being enthusiastic about what you do. Yeah, with your work. So it's letting go of this belief system, right? And not working yourself to the bone. So take that Mars energy and that sun energy and start directing it towards your purpose, right? So if you're working at some job that's draining you, exhausting you, and you're bitter, you can't get rid of that. You're like the walking bitter pill, right? You're just bitter, bitter, bitter. That's a sign that you're not doing your purpose, you know? So do the things that you love to do. This activates the 14, the gas pedal, to get you going as a projector. And then you're going to be in that energy. I love what I do. I can't believe how successful I feel, even though your bank account may not be reflecting that, but it's gonna send out this frequency, right? And people are gonna, wow, he or she's really into what she's doing. I want to check that out too, right? Yeah. What else for projectors? I mean, there's so many ways projectors can compromise themselves because we live in a generator world. It's just stop being a generator. And that's what I love about human design, because it's really teaching you to love yourself, right? There's some gates and channels you may not like about you. Maybe you don't like being a projector, right? But it's about learning to love yourself. And this is your power. This activates your power when you love yourself unconditionally, just the way you're designed, right? Your unique self. We haven't been taught to love ourselves, right? Anything else for the projectors? Yeah, compromise is self-betrayal. So you're betraying yourself. You're basically giving the divine the finger as a projector, right? I don't like what you've made me as a creator, right? You made a mistake. I'm supposed to be an MG, or I'm supposed to be a generator. You made a mistake, and you give the big finger. Every time you compromise, that's what you're doing to the divine. Right. So what I would say is to accept the gift of who you are, because your time is coming. Those manifesting generators and generators they're banging their heads against the wall right now collectively. No offense to the MGs and Gs listening to this, right? Banging their head against the wall. This isn't working anymore. This old world isn't working anymore. They're finally going to stop and say, I need help, right? Who can help me? And then energetically, they're going to be bringing you in, projectors. Okay. So your time is coming. So have faith and stay strong, because projectors can often feel like this isn't their world. But as soon as we come into that 6-line theme in 2027, things will start to really, really shift and change. Right. Okay. But get prepared as a projector. Get your system, what you're passionate about. Start studying, make that a priority. Okay. Okay, that's for projectors. And then let's go for reflectors. So this is only 1% of the world are reflectors, and they've got the resistant and sampling aura, and they follow the moon cycles. And when they don't, to make their decisions, then they should be in groups. Reflectors need to be in groups. That's where they shine, groups of people that really see them and value them, right? But when they're in the wrong place, they can feel disappointed in themselves, disappointed in other people. And what they want to do is be surprised. Okay. So people need to understand that you're a chameleon, right? A reflector is like this. Every center is open. Nothing's colored in as a reflector, but they've got the resistant and sampling aura to protect them, right? So I'm not going to roll a die for the reflector. Maybe I will. Okay. But they're very influenced by the moon. Okay. What do we got for our reflectors? Neptune, right? Yeah, right there, 36. Okay. So 36 right here with Neptune. And in terms of this transit, I mean, you're going to, as a reflector, you want to be really focused on the moon, right? That's your baby right there. That's your authority. That's your strategy, is the moon. But you're going to be influenced by all these other ones too. So say a reflector has the 35th gate activated, right? Let's say the reflector's got that. Well, this transit is going to connect that channel. And then suddenly you've got the solar plexus colored in, defined, and you've got the throat chakra defined. And then suddenly you're feeling emotional. Well, I'm feeling like these emotions. And then I want to have these new experiences, 36, 35, right? I want to have these, I want to jump into these new experiences. Well, no, you don't act from this place, right? You're about sampling and you're about learning, right? So an example last night, because I've been researching about death and dying, I'm doing an online retreat next weekend on death and dying according to human design. There's lots of really cool information there. And I'm reading this. So I'm reading all this material, listening to all these lectures from Ra, and he talks about the 10th gate. So I'm just reading it, right? I was up last night at 2 a.m. for some reason. I think it was just to read this material without a lot of psychic noise around me. But he talks about the moon. The death sequence starts when the moon activates the 10. So there's all these sequences that happen when we go through a death process, and we all go through some kind of death process every month. So the moon moves into the 10th gate, and he's like, this is the dark side of the moon. It's the dark side of the moon. So people show you their shadows. And I was remembering at the park, when I went to walk my dog at the park, these people that are at the park are usually like very optimistic and and elevated, and they were just like doom and gloom and judgmental and intolerant. And it was kind of affecting me. I remember at the park, because I can't I can't contribute to that because of my vibration will just start tanking if I do that. That's the only reason I would do that, is to like fit in. Look, I'm just as negative and judgmental as you. I can't do that. So I just remained silent as we walked around, and they were in their darkness. And it was kind of a shock because it felt like they were out of character. Well, when I was reading this, it was like, oh, the moon was in the 10th gate, right? When we were walking around the park, right? And that's what I checked. I went to the ephemeris. And as I was reading about the 10, it's like, oh my God, the moon's in the 10 right now. So you have that ability as a reflector. Like right now, it's in struggle, right? It's in the shadow of struggle, the 38. So you may be feeling that, like, oh, I have to struggle. I have to struggle for things in my life. I'm going through struggle right now. And then this, as a reflector, you need to learn that this too shall pass, right? So it's pretty amazing because the moon takes 28 and a half days to go through all 64. So you can get a taste of each hexagram, right? Every couple hours. Okay. I just thought that was interesting to be interested in that too as a reflector. So one person put their name down that they're a reflector, but you put it down if you're a reflector because you're so rare. Okay, so Neptune. So this Neptune always brings, it's very spiritual, and it's been in the 36. So remember, reflectors, and you know this, unless you have this activated yourself, it's not you. It's just a transit that you're sampling. And you can take it in. You're not going to take it in deeply, but you're going to have an experience of it, what this transit does for you. And so Neptune is about glamour. It's about misinformation, right? It's about misdirection. Neptune is the fog, And what's the fog? And this is conditioning us, right? As a humanity on the globe. Well, it's the shadow of crisis, right? So there's some kind of misinformation that's being pumped out there in our world where something's a crisis when it really isn't, right? It really isn't with this 36, and that we have to do something. The 36, we have to do something. In misdirection, it's about misdirection. So taking humanity down, some left roads. Oh, we got to get off this ramp, got to get off this highway and take this exit quickly because there's a crisis. So and it's the gate of crisis, and it's the most powerful wave. And this is our solar plexus. It's the most powerful wave, and it's about it's very, very emotional. And it's got a lot of pressure, right? So Neptune, it's like pressuring us. So reflectors, you may be going through some kind of crisis, or you believe that you're going through some kind of crisis in your life. Well, this is telling you, this message for you is like, just don't make any big decisions, because this could be like a red herring, right? Because it's in the Neptune position. Not all is what it seems. Right. So it's about waiting for the fog to lift, reflectors. And for you, it's about waiting those 28 and a half days, right? When the moon goes through and get yourself an ephemeris, when the moon goes through all those gates, and then you're going to get a taste of it. But don't fall for this crisis energy. And it could be big or small crisis. Yeah. And remember, it's very, very emotional. And you have to remember that you're not emotional, right? You have open solar plexus. So those aren't your emotions. If you're feeling this nervousness, that's what it feels like, right? Amplified nervousness, because you're going to feel it around you as a reflector, that's not you, and not to make big decisions from it, right? Okay. And how you can transcend this energy if you want to use it, right? So don't act from it. But if you want to use it, crisis is Christ consciousness. So if a crisis is coming to you, it seems like a crisis, and the emotions are there, They're already in you, right? Well, then just feel them, right? Just feel them. Feel them till the end. If I'm feeling all this fear, right, I'm just going to feel it. And this is how you transcend this energy. Okay. So that's what I have for the types. And I just want to remind people about this. And this is the big one. And I was meditating on this today. It's like, are you tired of living in fear? Like, who out there is tired of living in fear? And this is being anxious, it's being depressed and stressed, the noisy head, the noisy mind that won't stop, the worry, right? All of that. And then in the washing machine, right? Vulnerable to others' judgments, opinions, to the outside world, whatever challenges you're facing in your relationships, your finances, right? Your health, right? This is the root of it. It's fear. So we have two fears, right? We have two fears here. Major fears, the fear of tomorrow. So that's the fear of the future and what will happen to me. And then what other people may think of me, what other people think of me. Those are our two big fears. Okay. So we can do the hard way, the difficult way that comes with struggle. And we do all these techniques and methods and this and that, and right, to try to get rid of this fear. But it keeps coming back. It keeps coming back because the root of it, there's a root. All these fears can be thrown into one basket. The anxiety, the depression, the stress, the worry, the fear of tomorrow, what other people think of me, all that can be in one basket, right? And that's the root cause of all these fears is death, And we're in Scorpio season, so I want to talk about death, not to be afraid of it, right? Not to be afraid of it. So this is what my online retreat is about. It's about death and dying. So there's a whole teachings, like massive teachings, according to human design on the stages of death. And this is not about getting morbid. We're all going to die. Like, let's just put it out there. In the West, we like to sweep it all under the carpet, right? We're physically going to die. This physical body will go. Yes, it will go. This movie will end. Yes, the movie will end. But remember as a soul that you live on, right? So this is about empowering you with the knowledge, right? And that's going to get rid of all those other fears. As soon as you face this one primal fear that's driving all those other fears, right? You can't be controlled. You can't be manipulated when you face this fear. That's why there's so many people that are like unconscious zombies because they haven't faced their fear of death. And that's what's motivating them to make such stupid decisions in their life right now, right? So this is all about the human design. So according to the chart, there's things that there's a mechanism that happens, right? And it's like the stages of what you go through, what you need to do for your own self and to help others transition. It's just a transition from one place to the next, right? You're never born, never die. And the correct way to transition out of form. So this is really important. And that's what I'm getting from researching this material as a projector, that the way we transition out of this matrix is really, 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 really important. And this is something that's been, of course, we're conditioned. We all die the same, right? This is what happens. And that's, again, it's this homogenization even of death. So death is just as important as birth. And so we have the death chart, we have the end of life themes, and then we can help others who are transitioning, right? So there's that. There's KY meditation. So they're advanced meditations. And this is a weekend. And it's like, why don't you spread it out? It's like, no, this is the container. This is the container. So it's all condensed so that there's nowhere that ego can go, right? So I mean, it's doable. You'll probably miss maybe one thing in terms of your time zone, but ultimately you can go back and do it. And there's a space, like this is going to be a little website, and then everything's on the website, right? And then it comes with the big rebirthing at the end. So I'm really excited about delivering this. And Ra said this. It's like we really need to get this information out to people. And it's not out. I haven't found much information on the internet about it at all. Okay, so keep that in mind, especially if you want to like selfishly just get rid of the fear. Like, I'm done. I'm so tired of living in fear. I'm so tired of being anxious. And I know that this is not my true self, right? When we're in fear and a scared little bunny, we're compromising ourselves for one thing, and we're not being ourselves, right? We're not being our authentic self. We're not here to be scared of the material world. That's not why we're here. Okay? So check it out. At least go on the website and read, and then tune into your strategy, right? Yes, my sacral is saying, yes, I want to do this, or no, it's not for me, not right now, right? And it's projectors, I'm inviting you in, right? And manifestors, make it happen. That's all you have to do. Okay. And is there any other announcements? And if you want to learn more about the Sleeping Phoenix, I've got a webinar, 7.5 hours of content, everything you need to know about this new cycle that's coming up. So check that out too. Okay, everybody. So have a great week and protect your power. Protect, that's the words. It's not about claiming your power or getting your power. It's about protecting the power that's already inside you and let it build, right? Don't be giving it away. Okay. So namalo, everybody. Take care. Take really good care of yourself. Okay. Bye-bye.